Hi everybody, it's Mr. Black here, and I am very excited for your first ever band lesson. Now I'm going to teach it to you in person, so don't freak out, but I wanted to make a video just so that you had it to follow along. If you needed to pause something, rewind, fast forward, stop it, take a screenshot and tweet about it. Don't actually do that. So that's what I'm here to do today. I'm very excited to share it with you, so let's check out our flute. Okay, so this is our flute here that we have, and the tricky part with any instrument that we open is knowing which side is the top and which side is the bottom. Typically all of your latches will face down so that you know that you need to latch up like that. We also have the name brand on the top, that kind of helps us. So we're going to open that up, and when we open up our flute, we get, oops, almost, there we go. All of the instrument. There are three parts to our flute. We've got our head joint right here. This is this piece with the lip plate on it. We've got our foot joint right here. This is the smaller piece. And then we have the body of our flute. So these are the three components of the flute. Let's see how we put that all together. All right, so we're going to put our flute all together. And the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to take your head joint out, which is the one with the lip plate right here, so that you can see it. We want the top part, which is not the open part, the closed part on the left, and the open part on the right. The next step that we're going to do is we're going to take our body of our flute, that's the longest piece that you have in there, and we have to figure out which part goes on to the head joint. Most flutes, as you can see right here, have some inscription on the top part of the body. The top part of the body is going to go into the head joint like this. And we want to be very careful when we do this, that we're only holding the part that doesn't have a lot of keys so that we're not bending anything. And when you're taking the head joint and lip plate, we want to just twist it back and forth so we've got it in place. Okay, the next step that you want to do is you want to make sure that your lip plate is pretty much lined up with all of your flute keys so that you have that all in order ready to go. And then we're left with our foot joint. So let's take our foot joint here. And our foot joint is going to go on the end of our flute, so not the part where the head joint just went, but the bottom part of our flute. And we're going to twist that back and forth. Same thing, we want to twist so that we're not bending any of our keys. It's very important that we're not bending anything. The hard part about the foot joint is you want to line up your bottom pinky key right here with that bottom note right there. So that is your entire flute built. Let's talk about how we're going to hold this. All right, so we built our flute, we've got it right here. Now we want to talk about how we're going to hold this instrument. The first thing I always tell students is hold up your left hand like you're about to give a high five. And what we're going to want to do is we're going to put our left thumb on this bottom note right here. So I'm going to show you right now so you can see it. This is where my thumb is going to go for right now. Okay, right here. Oh, there we go. You can probably see it now. This is where it's going to go right now. Now I'm going to take my other hand, my left hand, and I'm going to roll it over so that I've got my thumb underneath and my other fingers are going above. Now when you look here, we've got a bunch of different notes and we've got our pinky key here. So let's talk about where our first index pointer finger goes. It doesn't go on that first key. Looks like it should, but it doesn't. Our first finger actually goes right there on the second key. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna skip the next one, put our middle finger on that one and our ring finger right here. So your left hand should look a little bit like this and have the left hand placement like this. Eventually your pinky will go on this pinky key, but it can stay up for right now. And remember, your thumb is down in the back. Most flute players always do something like this. And that's totally normal. That's how you feel like you should hold it. But one thing to fix that is if you take your index finger and you let the flute rest between your thumb and the index finger, you'll be much better and in more control of your flute. Okay, so the next thing that I always tell flute players, before we even give our right hand a test, I bring our lip plate up to our mouth and see if we can balance the flute with just our index finger and our thumb like this. Because if you can do that, you're in good shape. We don't need to worry about a right hand placement yet. Okay, so if you can do that, you're in good shape. We got our left hand down. Let's get to our right hand. Your right thumb, again, just like you're about to have a high five. Woohoo, high five. But don't do that in the times of COVID. Oh no, my phone is falling. Okay, so don't high five in the times of COVID. That's not a good thing. Don't do that. You're going to take your right thumb. You're going to put your right thumb right down the bottom right here on the bottom side. Not where the keys are, but on the bottom. And this time, we're going to pretend that we're waving. So we've got our thumb on the bottom of the flute. We've got our right hand waving up here. And this time, we're going to start with our pinky. So your pinky's going to go down right there. And then we're going to add our ring finger and then our middle finger to that key and then our index finger to that key. Believe it or not, you have your flute totally in order the way that you want to hold it. Looks like this. Looks like this. Okay, the next step is we just want to bring it up to our mouth. And eventually we're going to play right into the flute. and make a beautiful sound. I'll teach you all of your notes as we go forward, but that's how you build your flute. Let's talk about how we make a really good sound. All right, so to make a really good sound on the flute, this is probably something I did with you during your instrument fitting, but we're gonna talk about it now. Start off by blowing directly onto your hand like this. Now, when you're blowing directly onto your hand, make sure your lips are making this shape. When you blow onto it, see if you can move that air a little bit down. And then eventually see if you can move it all the way down to here. What you'll notice is that your top lip takes over just a little bit. Your bottom lip is still out a little bit, but your top lip comes out just a little bit more than your bottom lip. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our flute and our lip plate, and we're gonna bring our lip plate so that it matches right in the middle of our lips. And all we're gonna do is we're gonna roll it down. Notice how it's still touching my bottom lip? We want that. So now, just like you are blowing that air down, we're gonna do the same thing to this flute. Do it 2 more times. And 1 more time. If you really want to have fun with your flute and make really good sounds, see if you can put the end of the head joint totally closed off and see if you can make this sound. And if you get really good, you can make this sound. So that's how we make all of our sounds on our flute. Now, if you really want to be fun, you can try this. Okay. All right, so that's how we make a really good sound on the flute. You know, once you can make the sound on the head joint, we can put the head joint on the body like we always do. Set up our hand placement so that it's perfect. And you can try holding it and try just playing this note. I need to practice a little bit, and I bet you can too. Folks, I hope you enjoyed learning how to put your flute together and make your first sound. Great job.